Hi, I'm Shawn Brown. Ever wonder where some of the most successful people get their leadership qualities? Are they born with them? Are they just acquired over time? Can anyone attain them? We'll find out on today's Going the Distance.
Yeah. I'm always ready when it's game time. Hustle in my blood, I'ma make mines. Where I'm trying to go, it's gonna take time. You can earn your respect, I'ma take mine. In that lane of my own, I'm in the zone.
Hello and welcome to Going the Distance. You know, leadership is a concept often confused with power or position. Just because someone is in charge doesn't necessarily mean they're leading. You know, my wife Dayla once told me that a good leader can lead from anywhere, even from the back of the line. They just need the right qualities. And I'm sure NBA executive Pat Williams would agree. He recently announced his retirement after spending over 50 years in the front office of the Philadelphia 76ers, Chicago Bulls, and the Atlanta Hawks. Then in 1986, he co-founded the Orlando Magic, where he's served ever since. So he's seen his share of leaders. And he's written several books on everything from leadership to parenting. In his 110th book, Character Carved in Stone, Pat highlights 12 core virtues of West Point Military Academy that build leaders and produce success. And he stopped by to talk about them.
Pat, it is really good to be with you. You have been in professional sports since, at least basketball, since 1968.
That's right.
As an executive. So you've learned a lot of things about leadership, I think. If there was one nugget that you could contribute or would say that you've learned about leadership, what would it be?
Well, leadership always starts with vision. Great leaders are visionaries. They see the future before it gets here. They see farther down the road than others. They see in a wider scope than others. Ronald Reagan once said, to grasp and hold a vision is the very essence of successful leadership. So if a leader doesn't know where he or she is headed, well, nobody's going to follow them.
Wow. And that makes perfect sense looking at your career and the teams that you've been involved with. 76ers, Chicago Bulls, Orlando Magic. I mean, you brought some great players into the organization, including my favorite all-time player prior to Michael Jordan, Julius Erving, Dr. J. Just a quick flashback, getting him into Philly. Did you see where that was going?
Well, the merger of the two leagues had taken place that summer. And the New Jersey or the New York Nets were one of the ABA teams that had come into the league. However, Julius was in a contract dispute with their owner, a man named Roy Bowe. And he did not go to training camp that September. So I stayed in touch with their general manager just to find out if Julius at any point might become available. The answer was no, but about 2 weeks later, he called me back and said, our owner is in need of cash, we'll sell him. And I said, how much cash? What are we talking about here? He said, well, $3 million. Our owner needs $3 million, which in 1976 was staggering. And then I said, well, how much is it going to cost to sign him? And I was told another $3 million, $600,000 a year for 5 years. Now today, that is considered chicken feed. But back then, 3 million and 3 million, my math wasn't great, but that came to 6 million. I had a new owner, we had a new owner of the 76ers. I had to go to him and explain what was going on. And I explained the amount of money, and Mr. Dixon said to me, tell me, Pat, are you recommending this deal? And I said, yes, sir, I am. And he said, well, then go get it done. Wow. And Julius, that's how Julius became a 76er. And for the next decade, he was the heart and soul of our franchise, and really the heart and soul of Philadelphia sports. Wow. That's the kind of impact he had.
Wow, that's fantastic. You've seen a lot of great players over the years. Can you name two that exude just great leadership ability that you can think of?
Well, Michael Jordan would certainly be one of them. He led those Bulls teams just by his demeanor and just by his practice habits. He cleaned things up in the locker room when they needed cleaning up, so that they never even got to the coach, Phil Jackson. He never even knew about him because Michael got them attended to. I think that's what great leaders do. Every coach is longing, if your best player is your best leader. The other would be Larry Bird with the Celtics. Larry was a tough, no-nonsense guy. He set the tempo for those great Boston teams of that era. Wow. He said it, first of all, simply with his work habits, his practice habits. You know, he never mailed it in. Wow. He outworked everybody, even though he was already one of the league's great players. But he just never let up, and that set the pace for those Celtic teammates of his. They had to play at Larry Bird's pace, or they were going to get left behind.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. Those are great stories.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
You know, I think as a father, it's my job, you know, to lead, just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Shawn Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Woohoo! Hi, Superbook fans. Here's something else you'll love. Whoa! It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
Millsburg Falls man, come.
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes, too. And so much more! Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon! It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
How can you find God's plan for your life?
CBN presents The Plan, 8 Keys to Understanding God's Will for Your Life. In Pat Robertson's latest teaching, you'll discover the steps to take in following God's plan, how to know for certain when God is leading you, how to get rid of spiritual blindness and see God work.
God said, I've got a plan to give you a future and a hope.
Get The Plan. Call 1-800-700-7000 or visit cbn.com.
You've written 110 books?
That's right. That's
110 books. I remember one time we were talking, I said you were writing an average of 2 books a year. Your latest book, Character Carved in Stone. I've been through it. There's some great content in this book. Why did you want to write this book? Tell me about the story behind it.
Well, Shawn, here's what happened. I was invited to speak up at West Point to the Army men and women's sports teams and their coaches. That was a great experience, but a greater experience was when they gave me a tour of the campus, which is powerful, very moving. Well, we ended up at a little park on the edge of the campus called Trophy Point. It looks out over the historic Hudson River. And as I was working through that little park, I noticed there was a bench sitting there, which is nothing unusual. But then I kept looking and I saw more benches and I counted them. There were 12 benches kind of wandering through the park. And I thought, well, that's kind of nice looking. But then for some reason, I decided to look more closely at one of the benches. I'm glad I did, because I saw at the end, on the end of that bench, a word that was carved into the stone on either end of the bench. And I thought, well, let's go look at another bench. And sure enough, there was another word carved into that bench. And as I checked all 12 benches, there were 12 different words carved into the stone. The West Point class of 1934, on their 50th anniversary, 1984, donated and gave those benches to the school as a class gift, and they decided what words to carve into the benches because they felt those words would be motivational and inspirational to the cadets, words to live by and to lead by. So the publisher said, and I talked to them, I said, let's do a chapter on each one of the words and then see if we can figure out a West Point graduate who best modeled or exemplified that particular word. Wow. And we found them, and we wove them through the different chapters. Mike Krzyzewski, the Duke coach, is a West Point grad, so we asked if he would do the foreword. Wow. And he agreed to do that, which absolutely delighted us. And then we featured Mike under the word responsibility because Mike has said many times that he learned that trait while a student at West Point.
One of the things I love that you point out is that no one's born with these 12 virtues. You have to acquire them over time. How can someone incorporate these virtues into their lives?
Shawn, I don't think that we come out of the womb with these character virtues just coursing through our system. I think initially these qualities are taught and caught at home. Parents, grandparents have a huge responsibility to model good character and to talk about it, to teach it. To remind our children, you know, if they step over the line or something, this is why this is important, and they teach it. I think there's a great obligation of later on of teachers and coaches, youth workers, pastors, to do the same. Because these character qualities need to be paid attention to every day.
If you're at that point where you're on the cusp of success, how do you dig deep enough to get across that line to success? Because it always gets tougher right at the cusp, right when you're nipping at the heels of success. How can you cross the finish line?
Well, Shawn, let me just share this with you. Over the years, I've had the opportunity to study closely who we admire so much for being winners. Fascinating to study them. I refer to them as extreme winners because they're not normal, those people. For example, all of them are extreme dreamers. They've all had big dreams in their life from the time they were small. Secondly, extreme in their preparation. They never let anything slip. They're on top of every detail. Third thing I can tell you is extreme focus. These extreme winners are locked in. They don't get diverted. They don't get off on the side roads. The next thing I can tell you is called extreme passion. The extreme winners are excited every day. They're enthusiastic. They've got enormous energy. A lot of zip to them. Get up and go. The other thing I would tell you is called extreme work. They put their work shoes on every day. They never mail it in. They're constantly working to improve and to get better. I can tell you another one is called extreme goal setting. The winners are very conscious of having goals that they want to achieve, mid-range and further down the road, and long-term goals are important to these winners, these extreme winners. So when you get down to the 5-yard line, as you asked, Shawn, all this stuff I just shared with you is going to get you through the last few yards of any endeavor.
Wow. Wow.
If those extreme principles have been built into your life and practiced and put into use, you're going to plow through those last yardage issues and get into the end zone.
Awesome.
Every time, by the way. Every time.
There was one time you shared with me, I said, how are you doing? You said, I'm tired. You know, I can say I'm about 30% right now. I said, 30%? I said, well, how do you do it? And you said, well, Shawn, if all you have to give is 30%, then give all of it.
Well, Shawn, I think, and I remember that, I had been diagnosed over 8 years ago now with cancer, and I was able to keep going. I was on medication and all, but I continued to conduct my regular life as best I could. even though on particular days I may have felt like 30%. But 30% will still allow you to keep going. And so that's what I've done through these 8 years in that cancer battle. The good news is the doctors are telling me now that they don't see any signs of this multiple myeloma in my blood system. I'm grateful for that. God has been very good. But I'm also thrilled that I feel good. I'm now operating closer to 100% rather than 30%. And I'm determined to live to a healthy 100.
Please do. Pat, thank you, man. It is such an honor to have you. Thank you for taking time out. Character carved in stone. Very proud work. Thank you so much. If you don't exemplify going the distance, I don't know what does.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. God bless. All the best.
Same to you. All right.
If there's anything that stood out to me in the book and in the interview, it's that leaders aren't born, they are made, which means anyone can lead. Those virtues, compassion, courage, dedication, determination, dignity, discipline, integrity, loyalty, let's not forget about perseverance, responsibility, service, and trust. No one person is born with all of those qualities. They are acquired. The quickest way to success is one foot in front of the other. And if you can pick up these virtues along the way, success is assured. The question is, are you up for the challenge? We'll be right back after this.
As the world watches from the outside,
it's a big diplomatic tug of war here in the Middle East.
Go inside the story with Jerusalem Dateline.
Israeli archaeologists are talking about a discovery that could change the thinking about the Temple Mount.
Join CBN Jerusalem Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell and get the biblical perspective on the events shaping the world.
It's what starts in Israel then ends up going to other places.
Watch Jerusalem Dateline Friday night at 9:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Orphans Promise is committed to loving and serving at-risk children, to helping keep families together, and to creating opportunities for strong and sustainable communities around the world. We're working in over 60 countries around the world, and with your help, we can do even more. There's an old African proverb I love that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together. At Orphans Promise, we want to run far so we can touch the lives of as many orphaned and vulnerable children as possible. But we don't want to go alone. We're out to change the world, one child, one family, one community at a time. Will you join us?
Meet the pastors who are preaching the gospel in a fresh, fearless way. I'm Roberto Torres-Cedillo. Join me each week for Next Gen Voices. And watch God transform a generation.
But welcome back. Over the last few weeks, NFL teams have been moving and shaking trying to figure out how to bolster their rosters during the draft and now post-draft, which include coaching staff. And some organizations seem to do it better than others. Take, for instance, the Philadelphia Eagles in 2016, when they hired Doug Pederson as their head coach. Many critics didn't understand the decision, but in 2 seasons, he had proved that he had a lot of those leadership qualities that we spoke about earlier, like compassion, courage, and dedication, as he led the Eagles to their first Super Bowl championship in franchise history.
When the Philadelphia Eagles upset the New England Patriots to win Super Bowl 52, it shocked the football world. How did a team with so much adversity pull off a miracle? It was the ultimate underdog story.
When you hear Doug Pederson, head coach, Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl champion, what goes through your mind?
I still got to pinch myself every day. It's amazing. You know, it's why we get into athletics, to win championships, you know, and Did I think it was going to happen quite this fast in year 2? Probably not.
2 years, which is quite impressive for a guy that's been an underdog his entire career. He spent 14 years as a backup quarterback behind QBs such as Dan Marino and Brett Favre. He played with 5 teams and was cut 6 times before shifting into coaching in 2005. He coached in high school for 4 years, then made the jump to the NFL in 2009. Then after 7 seasons as an assistant under head coach Andy Reid in Philly and Kansas City, he was hired as head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles in 2016.
Philly's a tough town. It is a tough city. What's going on through your mind when you're the guy? Do you feel the weight? What's happening?
You know what? I don't feel the weight, because this is a place that I've come to love. This is a place I played here in 1999. I worked for Coach Reid for 4 years here. This is my 3rd time coming back to Philadelphia. I have an idea, the passion of the city, the fans here in Philadelphia. I have an idea what the media is like. So it was very comfortable for me to come here.
But there were a lot of critics that felt he wasn't qualified and wouldn't last.
You know, not many people gave me a chance, that I was going to be a one-and-done type coach, maybe 2 years. Even going into the 2017 season, there were comments made that I was one of the worst hires in NFL history.
But instead of focusing on the opinions of critics, Coach Pederson got to work.
When a coach goes to a team, they have to have some kind of mantra. What was the mantra? What was your thing?
We use this phrase all the time: keep chopping, keep chopping, keep chopping, keep plugging away, keep studying the film, keep practicing hard. Good things are gonna eventually happen to this football team. And chopping that wood, man, you know, it doesn't take one swing to chop a tree. It takes multiple swings, and that's what we did.
One of the swings Coach Pederson took was drafting rookie quarterback Carson Wentz. Within 2 seasons, he managed to turn things around on the field. But there were also some unexpected changes happening in the locker room.
The guys know that I'm a man of faith. They know that I'm a spiritual believer. They know I spend time every morning reading my Bible and my devotional book, and that's how I start my day. I think the Spirit of God just kind of works itself through certain members of your team, and then eventually it's going to end up in the locker room. I truly believe that you know, the power of God and the Holy Spirit just sort of brings everybody a little bit closer together.
The team relied heavily on their spiritual bond throughout an injury-plagued 2017 season, especially during Week 14, when their starting quarterback got injured and they had to lean on backup Nick Foles to carry them through the postseason. Coach Pederson desperately needed to find a way to lift the spirit of his team. The answer came to him in the form of a picture.
On the wall behind us was a quote on the wall, and it read, "One man can make a difference, but a team can make a miracle." I looked at all the injured guys around the room. I says, one man can make a difference. Carson made a difference for us. Jason Peters, you made a difference for us. Jordan Hicks, you made a difference for us. Chris, you made a difference for us. But it's not about one man. You know, it's about the team. I just kind of poured my heart out to the guys and said, man, let's go. You know, let's go. Nick Foles, you're the guy. We're behind you 100%. Let's go.
Doug Pederson led his underdog team to Super Bowl 52 with Nick Foles, his backup quarterback, to face a team very few believed they could beat, the New England Patriots. Coach recalls meeting Patriots head coach Bill Belichick before the game.
We shook hands and congratulated each other on their, you know, our season, his season, and in my mind, I'm thinking, we're going to win today. While I'm standing there, you know, talking to Coach Belichick, like, he doesn't know what's about to hit him. We're going to kick his tail today.
With that confidence, the team made a statement early in the game with one of the gutsiest plays in Super Bowl history. It was 4th and goal, and the Eagles had the ball at the 1. The play, Philly special, which was not supposed to be a 4th down play. The play was executed flawlessly.
Plays like that just don't happen, one, if you don't work them in practice, but you got to have belief first that they're going to work. You can't go, all right, it worked, now I believe in it. You got to believe it's going to work before it happens.
On the arm of his backup quarterback, Doug Pederson and the Philadelphia Eagles achieve a miracle, their first Super Bowl championship in franchise history. In his book, Fearless, how an underdog becomes a champion, Doug Pederson shares how he, along with his team, accomplished one of the most memorable Super Bowl victories in NFL history. And he hopes to share the message that through Christ, all things are possible if you believe.
I've had to fight and scratch and claw for everything that I've gotten in life. You know, nothing was ever handed to me, and I learned that from my dad. You need to go earn it, you need to go take it, you need to go create your own success, so to speak. You know, the Bible talks a lot about fear and overcoming fear. It can't be a part of your life. I'm not going to coach with fear. I'm not going to live my life in fear. I'm going to trust Christ, number one. I'm going to trust my family. I'm going to trust the guys around me. And that's something that we'll continue I'll continue to lean on, you know, not only the rest of my life, but as long as I'm a head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Ooh, the Philly special. Watching that play never gets old. I know the Patriots came back this year and won it all again, but in 2018, it was the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll be right back after this.
Woohoo! Hi, Superbook fans. Here's something else you'll love. It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
No spur falls, man. Come.
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes, too. And so much more! Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon. It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
Well, I'd like to thank you for joining us. And hey, leaders aren't born, they are made. And you can lead from anywhere. So go out there and make a difference, because life is short. Go the distance. See you next time.